What to do if you tend to rush into things and fall in love too fast. Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about what to do if you tend to want to rush things and you fall in love too fast. Now this is something that I completely understand because this was definitely like how I was. Especially when I was a teenager, I would get so hung up on the girls that I used to like, and I would fall in love very, very quickly. And sometimes I think this can be like a thing that can happen a lot with people who do have a more masculine kind of brain. It seems like the feminine type women in the world and feminine guys, they fall in love a lot slower. Whereas masculine women and masculine guys, like let's say the typical heterosexual male, tend to fall in love a lot quicker and have their emotions engaged really, really fast when it comes to the people that they like, when it comes to the women that they like. So basically, I guess you could say the cure to this, to be able to restrain yourself from, being too forward too soon, is understanding that people fall in love at different stages. Some people fall in love really quickly, and some people take a lot more time. And it's always best to assume that the person that you like, the person that you may be dating right now, is going to fall in love a lot slower than what you are. So you kind of have to go at their pace. So basically, all it is just being respectful of where that other person is at. Being respectful of that person not being there yet, just understanding that. And that should help you, restrain yourself. Because, when you go on a date with someone and you really, really like them, you have all these feelings bubble up because you think they're just so amazing, you think they're gorgeous, and you think they're really hot and you want to be with them. It's very difficult to be able to restrain yourself from, saying, really needy things sometimes. Especially when you're away from them as well and you really want to send them a text and things like that. It's really difficult to restrain yourself from being, needy like that. But when you understand and when it kind of hits you that, wow, this person is probably going to fall in love with me at some point, but it's going to be a lot more of a slower process. And all I need to do is just match and mirror their receptivity towards me. Then that kind of really helps. It's kind of like you're helping, in a way, you're kind of helping them, develop the same feelings as what you are by being, by backing off, by waiting for them, basically, to kind of not take the lead, but start initiating the more romantic things, the more romantic parts of that relationship that may blossom over time. So if you kind of see yourself as kind of like the person who is allowing that person to fall in love with them, as opposed to trying to force things, because that's what kind of happens when you send a really needy text to someone or you try to rush things in other kinds of ways. You're asking for that relationship too soon. When you're doing that, you are not respecting the other person's growth, right? And it may be the case that it may take them a couple of months to fall in love with you, and that's usually the correct amount of time. So let's say you're dating each other once a week. Eventually, after the first couple of dates, after seeing each other once a week, that person will start reaching out to you more. So if you're a guy watching this and you're dating women, then the women will start reaching out to you more after the second or third date. But at the beginning, you're probably going to be the one that's going to be asking them out. You see them once a week. You arrange the date for once a week. And eventually, over time, they will want to start seeing you more and more after those 2 or 3 dates. And because they've started to reach out to you more, you can basically just see it as when they message you, then that's, their kind of indicator that they would love to be around you. And when they do that, all you need to do then is just say to them, oh, wow, I'm so glad that you reached out. How are you doing? You can have a tiny little bit of a conversation. And I mean tiny, like just a couple of messages, if they don't phone you up, of course. And, just say to them, when are you next free to hang out? When are you next free to hang out on a date? And then give them, and when they give you the times they're available, then you can meet up more. So you might, because this is something that happened with me and my wife, we started dating for, we saw each other once a week for a couple of weeks. And then when it got around to about, and this was in September, of 2017. And then when it got to around November, we started to see each other on the weekends, like the whole weekend. And then after, like, let's say like December, we were kind of already a couple then, but after December, we started to see each other, a lot. So I'd see her on the weekends, and we'd spend the weekends together, and we'd also spend a night together during the week. We'd spend Wednesdays together as well. And that's kind of how it carried on until eventually we moved in together. So as you can see, at the beginning, you see each other maybe once a week, then you might be spending the weekend together, or you might be seeing each other twice a week, and then eventually you start seeing each other more and more, and then at some point you end up living together. But this is a process. It takes time. It's slow. And it took a lot for me to, restrain myself, because I really liked her and I wanted things now. I wanted the relationship now. I wanted us to be seeing each other every day now, those kinds of things. And it's really difficult to be able to stop yourself from trying to do that. But once you understand that this person just isn't there yet, and it's not because she's never going to be there, it's just that she just falls in love a lot slower than what I do, then it's so much more easier to be able to restrain yourself, because you're just understanding that they're just not there yet. And in a way, you're doing a kindness to them to allow their feelings to develop and for them to grow. My wife was telling me the other day how when she was on Tinder, because that's how we met, we matched on Tinder, like she started talking to another girl on that app before she met me. And this girl would like always be messaging her, and then eventually my wife didn't want to talk to her anymore. She blocked her or something. She just stopped talking to her because this girl just kept on messaging her all the time. And when she met me, obviously I was a lot more restrained. Like, I didn't message her all the time. I would message her once a week to arrange a date with her. And therefore I stood out more to her. I wasn't needy. I wasn't being pushy like what this other girl was that was messaging her too much. And because I wasn't being pushy, I was the one that won out of all the other girls that she was talking to, because my wife didn't just go on a date with me during that time. She went on a date with someone else as well. So I won out of all the people that she was talking to and all the other people that she was dating. And that was because I just simply gave her more time and space to think about me. I wasn't rushing things. I wasn't being too needy. I wasn't being, too much, basically. And that's how I managed to get my wife, basically, by doing that, by just being restrained, by understanding that people fall in love at slower times. I really liked her. I really wanted to date her. I really wanted to see her a lot. And she was not there yet. It doesn't mean that she wasn't going to be there yet. It doesn't mean that she wasn't never going to be there. It just means that people just just fall in love a lot slower. And that's all it takes, really. And that's kind of like what you need to consider when you feel like you're being too needy, when you feel like you're falling in love too fast and you're trying to rush things. It doesn't mean that they're not going to feel the same way about you eventually. It just means it's just going to take them a bit more time. Okay? If you'd like coaching with me, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.